Every single night before you sleep, you have a choice. You can close your eyes with stress, regret, and frustration weighing you down, or you can end your day with gratitude, an emotion so powerful that it has the ability to rewire your brain, change your state, and transform your future. See, most people go to bed replaying their problems, obsessing over what went wrong, dwelling on what they didn't do. But what if I told you that the simple act of shifting your focus just before you sleep could radically change your life? Your brain is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. Whatever you plant before bed, your subconscious will water and nurture throughout the night. If you plant negativity, doubt, fear, guess what? You wake up feeling heavy, drained, and behind before the day even begins. But if you plant gratitude, if you take a moment to recognize the good, to see how far you've come, to appreciate the people in your life, you're feeding your mind with the kind of fuel that leads to growth, resilience, and success. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Tony, that sounds great, but my life isn't perfect. I've got real problems, real struggles, and I get it. But gratitude isn't about ignoring your challenges. It's about choosing to see the opportunities within them. Maybe today didn't go as planned. Maybe you got knocked down, but did you learn something? Did you gain wisdom? Did you build strength? That's something to be grateful for, because in life, the people who win are not the ones who have it easy. They're the ones who develop the ability to see value even in the toughest moments. Think about this. How often do you stop and truly acknowledge what's going well? Most people wait for some massive event, some life-changing breakthrough before they give themselves permission to feel grateful. But success isn't about waiting for a perfect moment. It's about training your mind to see the good right now. Because what you focus on expands. If you focus on what's missing, you'll always feel like you're lacking. But if you focus on what you have, on what's working, on the progress you're making, suddenly your mind opens up, your energy shifts, and new possibilities emerge. Here's what I want you to do tonight. Before you close your eyes, take just 2 minutes to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Maybe it's the fact that you have a bed to sleep in. Maybe it's the conversation you had today that made you smile. Maybe it's the fact that you're breathing, alive, and have another shot at creating the life you want. Whatever it is, feel it. Let it sink in. Because when you do, you're not just changing your night, you're changing the way you experience life. And here's the truth. Gratitude is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it might feel unnatural, but over time, it becomes your default state. And when gratitude becomes your default, you start attracting more things to be grateful for. So tonight, make a decision. Don't go to sleep focused on stress, focused on what didn't happen, focused on problems. Shift your mind, end your day in a state of appreciation, because when you do, you wake up with power, you wake up with clarity, you wake up ready to dominate your day. And that, my friends, is how you take control of your life one night at a time. Every night before you sleep, your mind is at its most vulnerable. It's absorbing, processing, and setting the tone for how you'll wake up the next day. And most people don't realize that the last thoughts they entertain before bed shape their emotions, their mindset, even their physiology. If you go to bed filled with stress, replaying everything that went wrong, your subconscious holds on to that energy. Your nervous system remains in a state of tension. You wake up the next morning carrying the same weight, the same negativity, without even realizing you're starting the day at a disadvantage. But here's the truth. You are in control. You have the ability to direct your mind, to prime yourself for growth, success, and confidence, even while you sleep. It all starts with intentionality. Most people go to bed on autopilot. They scroll through social media, consume negativity, dwell on their fears, and then expect to wake up feeling refreshed and motivated. But that's like feeding your body junk food and expecting it to perform like a machine. It doesn't work that way. Your mind needs quality fuel. And the best way to do that, feed it powerful, positive input before you sleep. What does that look like? It means being deliberate about what you allow into your consciousness at the end of your day. It means replacing worry with focus. It means replacing self-doubt with certainty. If you spend just 5 minutes before bed reinforcing your vision, reminding yourself of what you're working toward, the kind of person you're becoming, you start programming your subconscious to move in that direction. And your subconscious is always at work, even when you're sleeping. Think about this. The most successful people in the world don't leave their mindset to chance. They don't just hope they wake up feeling good. They train their minds the same way an athlete trains their body. They understand that their thoughts before sleep are the last commands their brain receives before going into a deep state of restoration and learning. So if you want to wake up with drive, with confidence, with clarity, you have to give your brain something powerful to process overnight. Maybe it's a clear vision of the future you want. Maybe it's affirmations of your strength and resilience. Maybe it's replaying a moment in your life where you felt unstoppable. So you wake up carrying that energy into your next day. Whatever it is, be intentional. Make it a ritual, because once you take control of those last few minutes before sleep, you take control of your momentum. And listen, this isn't just about motivation. This is about rewiring your brain for success. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something real. When you repeatedly visualize your goals before sleep, when you reaffirm your power, when you decide that tomorrow will be better than today, you begin creating new neural pathways that shape your reality. So tonight, don't just drift off to sleep mindlessly. Take command. Feed your mind what it needs. Direct your thoughts with purpose. Because if you want to wake up feeling powerful, you have to go to sleep with power. And that, my friends, is how you set yourself up to win, long before the day even begins. There's a reason why most people stay stuck in the same cycles year after year. It's not because they lack intelligence, talent, or even opportunity. It's because they carry the same emotional baggage with them day after day, never releasing the weight that holds them back. And if you're not actively letting go of what no longer serves you before you sleep, then you're bringing all of that stress, frustration, and self-doubt into the next day. See, your mind is like a sponge. It absorbs everything, the disappointments, the setbacks, the conflicts. And if you're not careful, it stores those emotions, playing them on repeat every single night. That's why so many people wake up exhausted even after 8 hours of sleep. It's not their body that's tired. It's their mind that never got a break. But here's what you have to understand. Your past does not define your future. Just because you had a tough day, just because things didn't go as planned, doesn't mean tomorrow has to be the same. But if you go to sleep still carrying the anger, the regret, the guilt, then you're unconsciously programming yourself to relive those same emotions the next day. You're telling your brain, this is who I am. This is my reality. And your brain, it listens. It reinforces the patterns you feed it. That's why before you sleep, you have to practice release. You have to let go of whatever's weighing you down so you can make room for something better. Because when you hold on to the past, you leave no space for growth. You block yourself from receiving new opportunities, from stepping into the version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Think about it like this. If your hands are full of yesterday's baggage, how can you grab hold of tomorrow's possibilities? You can't. You have to be willing to put it down. That argument you had, let it go. That mistake you made, learn from it. But don't carry the guilt. That fear that's been creeping in, acknowledge it, then release it. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending things don't affect you. It's about choosing not to be trapped by them. It's about retraining your brain to focus on what you can control. Your attitude, your actions, your mindset. And one of the most powerful ways to do this is gratitude. It's impossible to be weighed down by negativity when you're actively focusing on what's good in your life. So before you sleep, take a moment Shift your attention from what went wrong to what went right. Find one thing, just one, that you're grateful for. Maybe it's a lesson you learned. Maybe it's a person who showed you kindness. Maybe it's simply the fact that you made it through another day. Because when you go to bed feeling grateful, you wake up with a mindset of possibility. And that's what changes everything. So tonight, don't carry today's struggles into tomorrow. Let go. Release the weight. Choose gratitude. Because the lighter you go to sleep, the stronger you'll rise in the morning. And that's how you take back control of your life, one night at a time. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. And the difference comes down to one thing: what you feed it before you sleep. Most people don't realize this, but the final thoughts you entertain at night don't just fade away. They shape the way you think, feel, and act the next day. They become the lens through which you see the world. And if you're not intentional about what you allow into your mind before bed, you're unconsciously programming yourself for stress, doubt, and mediocrity. Now think about this. What do most people do before they sleep? They scroll through social media, they watch the news, they replay every mistake they made during the day, every regret, every moment of frustration. And then they wonder why they wake up feeling anxious, drained, uninspired. It's because their mind never had a chance to reset. Instead of preparing for success, they went to bed reinforcing stress. If you want to take control of your life, you have to take control of your mind. And that starts with how you end your day. What if instead of feeding your brain negativity, you fed it something powerful? What if you conditioned yourself every single night to focus on what you want, not what you fear, on who you're becoming, not who you were? Because here's the truth. Your subconscious is always listening. It's always absorbing information, always shaping your beliefs, always preparing you for the life you're telling it you deserve. So before you sleep, you have to be intentional about what you let in. You have to prime your mind for growth, for success, for strength. One of the simplest ways to do this is through visualization. Close your eyes and see yourself already living the life you want. Feel what it would be like to have the confidence, the energy, the financial freedom, the relationships you desire. See it in detail, what you're doing, where you are, how you feel, because the brain doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something real. When you visualize your goals with clarity and emotion, you're wiring your brain to make them happen. You're training yourself to believe in the future before it arrives. But it's not just about seeing it, it's about feeling it. Emotion is what cements belief. If you go to bed feeling frustrated, you reinforce frustration. If you go to bed feeling empowered, you reinforce empowerment. So give yourself permission to feel success before it happens. And this isn't just some motivational idea. This is science. Studies show that people who consistently practice visualization and positive mental conditioning don't just think differently, they act differently. They take bigger risks, they persist longer, they navigate challenges with more resilience. Why? Because their mind is already familiar with success. It's already accepted it as inevitable. So tonight, don't let your mind wander into fear, self-doubt, or negativity. Take control. Prime yourself for the future you want, because when you do this every night, something incredible happens. You wake up ready to take action, ready to move forward, ready to become the person you were meant to be. And if you do this consistently, you'll look back one day and realize that the life you once imagined before you slept is the life you're now living. Most people go through life reacting instead of creating. They wake up, check their phone, respond to emails, go through the motions, and by the end of the day, they wonder why they feel exhausted, uninspired, stuck. But here's what they don't realize. They're carrying unfinished energy from the day before. They haven't reset. They haven't taken control. And that cycle continues day after day, year after year, until one day they wake up and realize they've been living the same reality over and over again, but it doesn't have to be that way. Because there's a moment every single night when you have the power to break the cycle. Right before you sleep, your mind is at its most receptive, most impressionable. This is the window where you can either reinforce the limitations of yesterday or program yourself for the breakthroughs of tomorrow. And the difference comes down to one thing: what you choose to focus on. Now let's get real for a second. Most people in their day drowning in regret. They think about what they should have done, what went wrong, what they wish they could change. They replay their failures, their mistakes, their disappointments, until those emotions become so deeply ingrained that they carry them into the next day. And when you do this night after night, what happens? You condition yourself to expect more of the same. But successful people, those who are truly building a life of impact, fulfillment, and unstoppable momentum, they think differently. They don't go to bed stuck in the past. They train themselves to let go, to extract the lesson, and to focus forward. They understand that what's done is done. The only thing that matters is what happens next. And this is where a powerful shift happens. Instead of reviewing your failures, start reviewing your wins. Every night before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I do right today? Where did I grow? What am I proud of? And don't just list them. Feel them. When you give your mind evidence of progress, no matter how small, you build momentum. You reinforce the belief that you are moving forward, that you are becoming stronger, that you are building something extraordinary. And look, I know what some of you might be thinking. But Tony, what if I had a terrible day? What if everything went wrong? Then find something, because there is always something. Maybe it's the fact that you kept going. Maybe it's the fact that you handled something better than you would have a year ago. Maybe it's just the fact that you made it through. And if that's all you've got, then celebrate that, because growth isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's happening in the background, in the struggle, in the quiet moments where you refuse to give up. This is how you take control of your nights, and in doing so, take control of your life. Because if you go to sleep feeling defeated, you wake up drained. But if you go to sleep feeling empowered, focused, grateful, ready, you wake up with momentum. And momentum is everything. It's the force that turns small steps into giant leaps. It's what separates the people who stay stuck from the ones who rise up, push through, and create the life they were meant to live. So before you sleep tonight, take a moment, acknowledge your progress, feel your momentum, and remind yourself you are not who you were yesterday. You are becoming. Most people live their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for some sign that tells them it's time. But here's the truth. Waiting is a trap. There is no perfect moment. There is no ideal time. The only time you have is right now. And what you do at this moment determines everything that comes next. See, the mind is tricky. It loves to tell you stories about why you should wait. It convinces you that you're not ready yet, that you need more time, more experience, more resources. It tells you that once you have everything figured out, then you'll start, then you'll commit, then you'll take action. But that's not how life works. The people who create massive success, who build incredible lives, who break through every obstacle, they don't wait, they move. They take action before they feel ready. They step into the unknown, even when fear is screaming at them to stay still. Because here's the thing, if you wait until you're ready, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Growth doesn't happen in the waiting, it happens in the doing. It happens in the moments when you decide to step forward, despite the uncertainty, despite the fear, despite the doubts. And that's where confidence is built. Confidence isn't something you have before you start. It's something you develop by starting. So tonight, before you go to sleep, ask yourself, where am I holding back? Where am I waiting when I should be acting? Because if you can identify those areas, you have the power to change them. And change doesn't happen tomorrow. It happens in the decisions you make right now. Look, nobody is going to hand you permission to go after your dreams. Nobody is going to show up at your door and tell you now is the time. You have to decide that for yourself. You have to make the commitment, plant your flag, and say, I'm doing this. No matter what. And that kind of decision, that kind of commitment changes everything. Because when you stop waiting and start moving, you shift from passenger to driver. You take control of your life instead of letting circumstances control you. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, there will be fear. Yes, you will question yourself. That's part of the process. But here's what you need to know. Every person who has ever achieved anything great felt the same fear, the same uncertainty. The difference is they didn't let it stop them. So tonight, as you close your eyes, make a decision. a real decision, not a wish, not a hope, a commitment. A commitment to stop waiting, stop hesitating, and start stepping into the life you were meant to create. Because the only thing standing between you and the future you want is action. And that action starts now. No more waiting. No more delaying. Your time is now. Tonight, I want to share something that could radically change the way you experience life. The power of your thoughts. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I've heard this before, Tony. Thoughts are important. We've all heard about the power of positive thinking. But let me take this deeper, because this is more than just a catchy phrase. What you believe about yourself and the world, what you consistently think about, determines the trajectory of your entire life. This is not just a nice concept. This is the fundamental truth behind success, happiness, and fulfillment. Think about it for a second. Your thoughts are the blueprints for everything you create. They're the starting point for every action you take. When you wake up in the morning, the first thoughts you have set the tone for your entire day. If you wake up thinking that today is going to be tough, that you're behind, or that things aren't going well, you're setting yourself up for a day that matches that thought pattern. But if you wake up thinking that you have the power to create whatever you want, that today is an opportunity, and that you can take control of your emotions and actions, you start your day with a different kind of energy. This is why your thoughts are so incredibly powerful. The energy you create with your thoughts is not just internal. It shapes how you interact with the world. It affects your relationships, your career, your health, everything. Your thoughts are not just in your head. They radiate out into your environment. They influence the people around you, the opportunities that come your way, and even the challenges you face. Now, I know it's easy to say, well, I can't help what I think. My thoughts just happen. But that's a lie. The truth is, you are in control. You control what you focus on, and therefore you control the stories you tell yourself. Your mind is constantly generating thoughts, but you have the ability to decide which ones you're going to give your energy to. When you're conscious of the thoughts you allow in, you're taking charge of your life. And when you're unconscious, those thoughts, negative or positive, start to dictate your reality. The key is awareness. Awareness allows you to interrupt the negative thought patterns that hold you back. It lets you question whether the stories you're telling yourself are true or simply something you've been conditioned to believe. And once you recognize that you have the power to change your thoughts, you realize that you have the power to change your life. I know some of you may be going through tough times right now. Maybe you're feeling stuck or like life is overwhelming, but here's what I want you to understand. Even in the hardest of times, you still have the power to control your thoughts. Yes, the world may throw challenges your way. Yes, people may criticize you or things may not go according to plan, but none of that has the final say unless you allow it. You get to decide how you interpret those challenges, and how you respond to them is entirely up to you. As you prepare for bed tonight, ask yourself, what thoughts have been running through my mind today? Are they empowering or limiting? Are they pushing me toward my goals or pulling me away from them? By recognizing the power of your thoughts, you take the first step in shifting your mindset from passive to active, from reactive to proactive. When you wake up tomorrow, do so with a new sense of purpose. Commit to thinking thoughts that serve your highest vision for your life. Every thought, every belief you hold shapes your reality. So make them count. Remember this: you are the architect of your own experience. Your thoughts create your reality, and your reality is always in your hands.